up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in on today's video. We are going to be doing a little special edition. We're going to call it the 6.0 Carnage edition. And we're going to be going over all the carnage that we found in the daily here, between the lifter, the camshaft, and then the other stuff that we found once we had the truck all the way tore apart. So we'll jump right into this video. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. I have a theory of how everything kind of, the sequence of events that happened that led up to the lifter failure. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about that. This is going to be a cool episode, and so I got everything set up. That way you guys can see, and I'll explain everything. We'll go through it all. Let's get started. So let's start right here with our lifter. So this was the lifter that failed, number 7 exhaust lifter, and this is the roller. Let's see if we can get a good view of this. But do you see the flatness that's right there? Yeah. So that was causing the majority of our issues. This was a failed lifter, absolutely destroyed this thing. It was so destroyed that the pin that it goes through right here, this goes through the lifter, and then the needle bearings right along here and allow that to spin. This actually got wore as well. So that's kind of interesting too. Maybe a lack of oil pressure. We'll get into that a little bit later. Now the camshaft, if we can shine it over here. Here it is right here, number 7. You can see right along here, big old divot down right here. So it absolutely destroyed the camshaft. Obviously that roller got stuck and basically just started grinding right into the camshaft. We got a custom grind camshaft, guys. You can pick this up, 20 bucks. You guys can have it. Just kidding. It's kind of funny. So yeah, that's not good. So because we had like maybe a potential lack of oil pressure that made our lifter seize up, my initial thought was, well, push rods were the 6.0 push rods, right? Well, the truck did have 6.0 push rods. These are the longer ones compared to the 6.4s. If you go to the Ford dealership, you cannot get these push rods. Ford will sell you the new 6.0 push rods, which are the 6.4 ones, because they had so many lifter issues in these engines. So it did have the longer push rods. So that puts extra strain on our lifter, especially after the heads, if they had been machined, which if you guys watched my previous video, it's got 20 millimeter heads, 18 millimeter block. So I'm not 100% sure if the heads were ever even machined. I think they may have just been replaced. Now, the next step was to tear apart the engine and kind of see what our low pressure oil pump gears, see if something went through here in case there was a oil pressure issue. And so we pulled the cover off here, and you can see there is a pretty good groove here and on this side. A deep enough groove that I can wedge my fingernail right into. I mean, it's deep on both ends here. So something definitely went through the low pressure oil pump gears and tore this very front cover up. And then we pulled our pump out, and sure enough, you can see there's a divot there. You can see the divots. They're all over here on the left-hand side. Almost every single lobe has a little divot on it. So something went through the gears. Something went through the front cover. This is matching. You can see the divots inside of there. So something went through our front cover. So let's jump over to the front cover and we can take a look at what that looks like. So here is our front cover. And so that plate that I was just showing you goes over top of this. Your low pressure oil pump gears spin around in here on the crankshaft. Now initially when I pulled this apart, the grooving here is actually pretty normal. We don't have excessive grooving. We don't have a deep cut like we did on that other cover. So initially I was just going to replace the very front cover that goes here. But then I pulled the water pump off. And the water pump, what you can see here is very excessive cavitation into our front cover. All of these pockets and holes right here, eventually what will happen is you will get coolant in your oil in your coolant, and yeah, it'll wreak havoc on everything when this eventually wears through. So we we ended up having to replace the front cover as well. Not only because we had something go through the low pressure oil pump gears, but because we have front cover cavitation. So since I was replacing the front cover, replacing the low pressure oil pump gears, replacing our camshaft, replacing all of the lifters, push rods, everything like that, I decided to go ahead and pull our bed plate off and reseal the bed plate. Well, when I pulled the bed plate off, I wanted to take a look at our main bearings. And so here we have here, these are all of our upper bearings. These are all of our lower bearings. These are the ones that sit in the bed plate. These are the ones that sit in the block. This is your thrust bearing. This is actually what controls how much end play you have in the crankshaft, moving front and back. And so we started inspecting these. Everything looked good. We see this one here, like right in that area, that big groove right there. Yep, so that's a junk bearing. We can see a little bit of wear on that one right there. You know, that I would say it's excessive wear for the mileage on the truck, but overall normal wear. And then we see this one here. We can see a little bit of color coming through, so that is a very wore bearing for the mileage. But pretty normal wear. That's the very front one. So there is some load on that from all of the front assembly there. And then our lowers here. Our lowers looked pretty good, except for this one up here. We can see a little bit of wear on the inside right there. So we got new main bearings for the truck as well. So as I've been discovering these things, I have been slowly trying to get this engine back together. So we did replace, like I said, all of the main bearings. We replaced all of those, resealed the bed plate. All of the rod bearings actually looked really good, so I wasn't too concerned about those. Did not replace those. Because we had to do the camshaft, I ended up just pulling these, they call them the no-no bolts, and then I went to RCD Performance, and you can get these specialized bolts. It's very, 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 very important that this adapter piece, this one right here, goes on the exact same way as when you pulled it off. Exact same way. And it's also very important that you time the gears inside of here as well. So once you pull this off, the crank has a dot on it, and then the camshaft has 2 dots, and then on the very top it has 1 dot. The 2 dots and the 1 dot need to line up perfectly. If you are 1 tooth off, your truck won't even start because it will not gain sync. So very, very important that all of this goes and lines back up properly. Very, very important. Moving on from there, you can see we've got our new lifters in there. We always soak our lifters for at least 24 hours, soak them in clean engine oil, and then we can stick them in. We got new guides as well. Very highly recommend that as well. Resealed our high-pressure oil pump cover. Resealed our oil cooler. We did not replace it because we only had like 5-degree deltas, but when I tore it apart, I did flush the oil cooler out. So hopefully we can get those deltas to within 1 to 2 degrees. But I really needed to clean up all these plates up. So we got that all cleaned up and resealed. You can see I have the deck surface already prepped on both sides. Those look really good. I did clean off the top of the pistons as well. And after I did that, you'll notice there's a little mark on every single one of these pistons in the exact same spot. All of them. That is from our glow plugs. So the glow plugs were hitting the pistons. So other than that, everything else is looking good. So we sent the heads out to the machine shop. The heads came back. They are flat, no cracks, no issues there. The valves are okay. Number 7 did. The 2 exhaust valves did hit the top of the piston. But everything was fine with the valves. Everything's good to go with the heads. Those are ready to go back on. The cylinder walls, those are beautiful. We don't have any major scoring or any issues there. So everything else on the engine is good to go. So I'm lucky at the same time unfortunate for all the stuff that we're gonna have to do to this engine and what we've already done. But now let's talk about some theories here. So my first one starts with the glow plugs, right? When I bought this truck for $3,000, okay, and it didn't run. I had it hauled back here. And I started looking into it, and it had 7 out of 8 glow plug codes. 7 out of 8. And so the truck wouldn't start. It couldn't start because none of the glow plugs were working, except for one. One was working. And so my initial theory begins with the glow plugs that somebody put in the wrong length. Now, the 03 and 04, I believe, are a little bit longer compared to the 05 to 07 glow plugs. So that's very important that you make sure you get the right ones. I'm pretty sure the early ones have longer glow plugs. But you'll want to verify, get your VIN, take it to the Ford dealership, make sure you get the right length glow plugs. They are a little bit longer, I'm pretty sure, on the earlier ones. And so I think somebody put the wrong glow plugs in this engine at some point. Every single one of them got hit by the piston and took them out. Somehow the one was still working, but basically that hurt all of the glow plugs. And so then when we bought the truck, we put glow plugs in it, truck fired right up, no big deal. But that's because we had the right length glow plugs and we haven't had any glow plug issues after that. So theory number one. So let's say this truck has 170K miles on it, okay? Now, before I buy the truck, somebody does glow plugs on the truck. They allow foreign material to somehow enter into the engine. Some particle of some sort enters the engine. That particle then gets sucked up through the oil pickup and goes through our low-pressure oil pump gears. That hurts our low-pressure oil pump gears and the front housing, creating a lower than desired oil pressure. That oil pressure then starts to affect our back lifters, including number 7, which is the one that failed. The lifter, because it has a lack of oil, then seizes up, takes out our camshaft. And now we're here. So let me know what you guys think after kind of giving you guys all the evidence. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think I'm onto something here? Do you think I'm missing something? I'm not 100% sure. I'm just hoping we can get this sucker back together, get it back in the truck, and move on with our lives. So you guys will have to let me know what you guys think about my theory. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But thank you guys for tuning in on today's video. Drop a comment down below. Leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. We got a lot more content coming. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one.